we have been moving around the city, as you have seen, and we see a lot of signages. We see a number of roads being named. We see some of the roads that did not even have road signs and markings. We see all these ones coming up. What is the story behind all this?
Earlier we had, Kampala has 8,500 plus roads. But out of all those, in the systems on the Kampala maps, we had like 538 roads that had names. So the rest didn't have names. However, we realized that on ground, many of the roads apparently have names. Like the people know the road names, but they are not known anywhere in the system. Now, as part of improving navigation within the city, under the city address model, which is a component of the KIDIP, Kampala Institutional Infrastructure Development Projects, that at that point we realized that we needed to have road naming as part of the city addressing to be able to improve how addresses are gotten into the city. So road naming exercise was initiated, and in 2016 it's when it took root. At that point we realized that many other roads were approved at division level, but they were remaining in the division minutes. So we realized that we needed to have all those road names when they're approved into the system, and also uploaded onto online maps like Google Maps, like OpenStreetMaps. So we went through the different acts, the different laws that give KCCA the mandate, and in the Kampala Capital City Act, in Part A of the third schedule, it gives KCCA the mandate to identify roads and by assigning them names, but also to install road signage. Okay. So against that, of course, there are a few lines, it's like one paragraph. We have to come up with guidelines. So we come up with the road naming guidelines, which describe why we have to name roads, what could be the source. It's basically guiding the communities, but also to streamline the process, to give a clear, unambiguous process of how roads can be named, from the first level to the last level where we're updating maps, so that service delivery is made easy for all agencies, KCCA, private, government, and also the road users, like the communities, the people who move within Kampala.
Okay, I can see one of the signages here. I think we'll cross, and then you give us a bit more on what actually comes behind, or what informs the naming of this road. So I think we can cross and look at what exactly happens here, and then you possibly give us a narrative on what informs the naming of the
roads. Yeah.
Where we are coming from, we used to direct people by way of jumping drainage channels in Kampala and looking at the physical features in that particular area, where you see a pawpaw tree, and then
a big mango tree.
You see a big mango tree, then you jump, you cross, you will have reached me. But I would like to know, this is very impressive, but would like to know what exactly informs the naming of a road. What is the process? Where do I start from, and where does it end?
Now, the naming process in itself starts from the community, but the community is guided by KCCA and the road naming guidelines. So in naming, we've been engaging the communities for a long time to be able to get the 7,015 roads that we've currently named in the last 3 years. So when we get to the communities, they organize community meetings where mainly the landowners, the landlords, the people who are owning properties in these communities attend the meetings, not basically tenants. So we need like the property owners in these communities to sit and agree. So we've been displaying maps. They look at the maps, they'll identify their road names, and they give these road names, these roads names. Yeah. So after that, the minutes for the village meetings are taken to LC2. Or most times you find that LC2 is also part of these meetings. So after the LC1s and LC2s have completed approving or naming their roads, then the process moves on to the division council. Now these minutes, together with the maps that have these road names that have been given, are taken to division council. The council sits and either agrees or disagrees on some roads, And of course, if they disagree, they'll go back to the community, and the communities will be told that this didn't go through, and then they'll give another name to a particular road. So the process from the division council goes through a fiscal planning committee.
Okay.
The fiscal planning committee endorses, and the final step is the authority council who approved the road naming guidelines in 2017. So authority council does the approvals, their final approval, and then the road names are gazetted. And after they are gazetted, then the maps are updated.
Okay.
From the before unnamed roads to now named roads. That's why out of the 8,500 roads in Kampala, currently 7,000 have 7,800 have names currently, but only 500 had names before the project. So under this KIDI project, the street addressing model, we've been able to give close to 7,000 roads names, and the systems will be updated when authority council passes these names. And of course, we shall update the Google Maps and the Open Street Maps, but also to give information on KCCA's websites, our interactive online maps, for people to be able to know the names of their roads and to access their properties with ease. So this is basically making service provision easy. And then we're also installing signage, like this signage, like that we have Kintu Road, and the signage has arrows. So we'd like the public to understand the signage when it's placed. When we have an arrow, where the arrow is facing is where the road is stretching to, yes.
Okay.
So people need to understand this and be able to read the signage for better navigation within Kampala.
Okay. That is good. It reminds me of a scenario. So it means that after that process, there could also be other decisions that are taken. For instance, I remember the former mayor of Kampala, the late John Sevana, when he passed away, council congregated, there was a meeting, and there was a proposal that because of the service he had offered to Kampala City, then they would actually like him named after the road. And so that is how they had to change from Nachivo Place to John Sevana Kizito Road.
Yeah.
I also know that there are scenarios where governments may be interested in terms of building partnerships with other entities. For instance, in the case of Yuri Gagarin from Russia, there was also a proposal by government, and then it had to be channeled through the authority and the council, and then the road name.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Because in the guidelines, there are powers for the president, for Parliament of Uganda, for authority council, for even the division council, to make proposals to either name an unnamed road or to rename a named road given the situation, either through a council special resolution or through a presidential edict. So through that, there are powers that are stipulated also within the guidelines for those special councils or special committees to do a naming or renaming proposal.
This is very good, and I think it impacts the community in terms of mobility and navigation very greatly.
Yes.
Because there are stories that we used to hear that when you're in Kampala, you ask somebody, they will actually direct you in a wrong, they will point to you in a wrong direction.
Yes.
You lose time, you lose money, and possibly you get cheated there. So
Yes,
I think this is
exactly.
going to improve greatly in terms of our services to the community, but also where there is need for services like ambulance. In case somebody has fallen sick, then you're able to quickly get to these people just by
Exactly.
either using the online navigation facility if you have a phone that has internet, or actually physically reading and you're able to get to these people.
That's true.
What happens if I have somebody in the community that I think has been of impact? If I feel that this person should be, it's actually important that maybe this person is named after a given road. Do we have some examples of such proposals coming to us, and so that are they in consideration? Has it been done?
Yeah, we have several proposals. For example, even before we got into the batch road naming, where we go to communities to do road naming in bulk, we have what we call our road naming form, which people download from the website or pick from the divisions or pick from KCCA and fill to make proposals. But there are also proposals that cut across several divisions. We've had, for example, a proposal for naming Kiprotich, the famous medalist, after a northern bypass. But this doesn't go to a particular village or a particular parish or a particular division, because the road goes through several divisions. So because authority council has the mandate to also name according to the guidelines, it's going to be sent together with the rest of the Kampala road names to the authority, so that they can be able to approve, and then the bypass will take on Kiprotich as its newest name in case they do the approvals. So several proposals are coming in, and several others from the communities. They named George William Kakoma, for example, the Buganda Kingdom in Rubaga Division. In Rubaga Division still we have a community, a particular LC, that named their roads according to the mayors who have been in Rubaga Division, from the first one to the current mayor. And so those proposals, after key people, our heroes, our medalists, the Olympians, all these are according to the communities, or if council deems necessary, the proposals will be approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, just to know that the city is changing, and it's changing for the better. You're now able to navigate the city better, whether by physically reading on these signages, but also going online. We have had one challenge of vandalism, where people come and knock these signs. Others come and hang their jackets there, especially border riders that have stages near these signages. And then the signage loses meaning because the name is covered. Yes, so we want to emphasize to members of the public to observe this. This is a lot of investment of public resources and public funds, so it should be us guarding such installations jealously. So let's keep these signages. They are here to help us navigate the city. They are here to help the generations that will come. And I think there are people that need to be encouraged not to cover the signage. People who bring posters. Yes. We've seen signage that is covered by posters. Even the road name is covered. But also, basically posters. Yes. Politicians who are putting the posters. We have advertisers who are putting posters, and several others. We have examples. But also have the painters who spray onto the signage. I think all these need to. So generally, the public has to be on the lookout. Yes. And then I think there should also be some increased surveillance so that we can do some enforcement when such things get out of hand. Because we have done sensitization even on some of the things which actually look obvious. Yeah, that's true.